Protesters across the country continue to call for the defunding of police departments in response to the death of George Floyd. President Trump today signed an executive order outlining his proposed police reforms, an order Democratic lawmakers are calling soft. On your side, Shelby Danielson spoke with a local law enforcement agent to get their take on the changes.
President Trump's executive order fell far short of what activists and lawmakers have been wanting, such as an outright ban on chokeholds and on no-knock warrants, among other things. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the president's order weak. We spoke with 3 different members of law enforcement, former and current, who all expressed support for the order, but also offered additional reforms.
It's a start. I mean, you can add to it as it progresses and see how the first objectives are obtained and how you get to that point.
First Coast News crime analyst Mark Bachman supports the president's executive order and says it can expand.
Is it long overdue? Yeah, in some ways it probably is. There's some reform that needs to be definitely done there. But bear in mind, it's such a small percentage of police that engage in that type of activity.
In the order, President Trump calls for a national database that tracks officers who use excessive force. That data follows them throughout their career. He also prohibits chokeholds unless it's a life-threatening situation. He's also launching a partnership between social workers and police officers. Bachman also believes police need more de-escalation training and officer work histories need to be more readily available.
The executive order that the president signed today was positive and reinforces the fact that law enforcement is extremely important to society, and without it, there'd be chaos.
Fraternal Order of Police President Steve Zona supports the executive order and rejects the idea of defunding police departments.
I think that's a radical idea, and I think the president echoed that.
Palaca Police Chief Jason Shaw also supports the executive order. He believes it's important to reconnect with the community.
It's a great idea to be able to assist and help weed out those bad apples that's consistently committing those heinous acts. If we put the best product we can put out there, then the more comfortable the people we serve will be, and we'll be respected a lot more.
Shelby Danielson, First Coast News, on your side.